Michael, stand by, please, because I like to bring you in with the way that people are used to hearing you come in. All right?
Sure.
And let me just say that Michael is someone who writes for the Marina Times. He is the culture blaster in social media, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. Michael Snyder, everybody.
Woo! Oh, hey, for the record, that rainbow tickles.
Now, Michael.
Yes, sir.
I know Halloween is approaching.
Oh, dude.
And you're a horror movie guy.
In case you're wondering, this is my favorite time of year. I mean, honestly, I'm digging the autumn. I'm embracing climate change, the annual summer into fall variety, not the apocalypse.
Okay, I see. All right.
I think we still have a year or two before that happens. I'm checking out various Oktoberfest beers because that's my jam.
Yeah, you like beers. I know.
I'm being temperate, one every other day or so.
Okay.
And I have a limited number of brain cells to preserve, so we're keeping it at that. But it is that time. I'm considering possible Halloween costume plans. I'm thinking of dressing up as a disenfranchised voter. Now that is a scary costume.
Yeah,
you know I'm right.
Right.
But
am I right, people?
Yeah, you know I'm right. But yeah, we have horror films, and there's a big franchise that's rearing its head. I know that in Texas, people are carving metho-lanterns right now.
Oh, Michael, please.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
Yeah.
Just a little callback.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, the third installment of director David Gordon Green's recent sequel trilogy to Halloween, John Carpenter's original 1978 horror classic, is entitled Halloween Ends, and it comes out today. After watching it, I sincerely hope the title is right. Anyway, 2018's Halloween Part 1, I guess, was the first of the three recent features to return to the small Illinois town plagued by Michael Myers. This is not Austin Powers, Mike Myers. This is Michael Myers, the seemingly indestructible serial killer in a mask. And it was actually pretty decent. It checked in with the town decades after the events of the first Halloween movie and brought back mad slasher Myers, a hulking menace, and get this, a beat-up William Shatner mask. You know that?
I never knew that. But actually, it was a KGO listener back on the old KGO show who mentioned that's William Shatner, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
it's a mask done for one of the Star Trek episodes.
It's a full head thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, even more gratifying for the fans of the series, it brought back one of his earliest targets. Teenager, plucky final girl survivor, and now grandmother Laurie Strode, played then and now by original Scream queen Jamie Lee Curtis. And the one good thing I can say about the revived franchise unequivocally is that even after all these years, Jamie's got the goods. And occasionally, as Aerosmith Steven Tyler would sing, Jamie's got a gun. Not that a gun is going to work against Michael Myers.
No, you can't stop Michael Myers.
No, bullets have never been a help. Anyway, to be honest, Laurie's face-offs against her old nemesis have been the highlights of the revival. But each succeeding movie of these three has been a case of diminishing returns. We thought Laurie got him last time, but oh no. In Halloween Ends, Laurie's granddaughter has fallen for a bullied dweeb who tries to fight back against his tormentors, but the murderous specter of Myers hangs over the town like a sickness. Motivations and actions seem to come out of nowhere. I mean, here's something I never thought I'd say about a gory horror movie with gruesome stuff happening. There's a lot of vagueness here. I mean, this time,
You're saying that people just get off for no reason?
Well, no, it just seems like motivations are crazy. Why does the granddaughter dig the dweeb? I mean, I guess we can't argue with chemistry.
Isn't that a question we all asked for so long?
Anyway,
why does the granddaughter dig the dweeb?
The timeline is unclear. Other things eventually happening around a couple Halloweens. That's when Myers went on his killing spree. So, I get that. This one appears to be script by committee, though. I think 5 contributors to the just weird. It's a too many cooks thing, perhaps. One of the screenwriters who's been involved in this revival is Danny McBride of Eastbound and Down and The Righteous Gemstones. He's a terrific comic actor. Nothing righteous here. Is it better than 2021's Halloween Kills, which was part 2? I don't think so. Then again, is a punch in the stomach better than a punch in the nose? It's tough to say. One more thing, the Russian playwright Anton Chekhov and the concept of Chekhov's gun. Do you understand this?
I don't know that. Can you tell me?
If a gun shows up in the first act of a play, it will doubtless go off by the last act.
I see. Yeah.
Okay, sharp-eyed viewers will spot a very large and grisly equivalent to Chekhov's gun early in Halloween Ends, but that won't make it a better movie. It is in theaters and available for streaming.
Didn't like it. Really didn't like it.
Not particularly.
Seemed like it had a lot of the building blocks of something you'd like, but you didn't like it.
Yeah, and again, the first movie of this revival, which is actually the only true, according to John Carpenter, the only true direct sequel to his movie from the 70s. It was okay. I kind of enjoyed catching up to Laurie Strode, and again, Jamie Lee. What are you going to say about her? She's wonderful. Yeah. Although not her greatest work, Stars at Noon, the latest from award-winning French director and screenwriter Claire Denis, is more proof that she's as compelling a filmmaker as there is to be found in world cinema. She's prolific, both sides of the blade. Her recent reunion with longtime favorite leading lady Juliette Binoche was as satisfying as most of their other collaborations, like Let the Sun Shine In and, of course, Chocolat. And all three of these movies were more emotionally potent than Stars at Noon, which is a mix of geopolitical espionage and romantic drama. Wait, should we call them rom-drams? Like rom-coms?
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, this follows the ongoing progress of a young American journalist and scrounger of questionable virtue, played by Margaret Qualley, who was a really talented young actress and the daughter of Andy McDowell. So she's a legacy kid. Anyway, her character tries to survive the dangers of life in contemporary Nicaragua, and she falls in with a handsome and seemingly well-connected British fellow his virtue is also in question. He's played by the dashing Joe Alwyn, whose recent turn as a knight in the medieval coming-of-age comedy Catherine Named Birdie marked him as an actor on the rise. By the way, Qualley played one of Charlie Manson's girls in Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she's also quite prominent in the current ongoing miniseries Made. The romantic chemistry between Qualley and Alwyn is strange but effective. It kind of combines hot and diffident, Anyway, is that a ding word?
Diffident is 100% a ding word. Please, can we, Chris? Can you get the?
Anyway, while they're
the
search for a way out of this treacherous Central American country, beset by armed troops and violent thugs and cunning spies, is a little convoluted, but the two co-stars are eminently watchable, and even with a scattershot project like Stars at Noon, Denis is a masterful filmmaker with a firm grip on the tiller. It's in theaters and available for streaming.
All right. So
it's art house fare, but it also is exciting, intense, and weird, and then it gets these dark alleys plot-wise. Okay. But Margaret Qualley and Joe Alwyn are very, very good. Now for something as light and refreshing as a glass of iced lemonade on a sunny afternoon. Are you ready?
Yes.
Rosalind is yet another retelling of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet story set in old Verona in Italy back in the day, with the feud between Montagues and Capulets in full effect, assuring tragedy for a couple of star-crossed lovers caught in the crossfire between their respective families. Only it's a sly comedy with modern dialogue and behavior, and it's actually told from the perspective of Juliet's forward-thinking cousin, Rosalind Capulet, who was Romeo Montague's first girlfriend, waffled a little bit about the romance, and now feels betrayed by his decision to go to the younger Juliet for satisfaction.
What?
Oh, wow. Okay, I think I follow that.
Okay, the primary members of the cast, Kyle Allen as kind of a dorky Romeo, Isabella Merced as the naive Juliet, and Sean Teal as Rosalind's maligned but patient suitor, Dario. They're lovely and lively and fun, and they're assisted by some very canny vets, including Bradley Whitford as Rosalind's long-suffering father, and Minnie Driver as Rosalind's wise and supportive nurse. But the real selling point here is the immensely appealing Caitlin Dever as the wry, thoughtful Rosalind, who was born centuries before her time. Dever scored as one of the two snarky teenage girls in the well-received movie comedy Booksmart, and was recently Emmy nominated for her role in the miniseries Dope Sick.
Oh, wow.
This is a talent.
So I think, I saw her. I'm just trying to picture her, actually.
She has this unfussy charm, and she has spot-on comic rhythms. She carries Rosalind on her slim shoulders. She is the biggest reason to check it out. Although I give a nod to director Karen Maine. She keeps things cantering along in jaunty fashion.
Oh, my God.
Is Rosalind essential viewing? Did we need it? Not really, but it is a breezy, entertaining watch for tweens and their elders, for sure. It's streaming on Hulu, so if you have a Hulu access situation, watch away.
That's where to see it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's also in theaters or just on Hulu?
No, just on Hulu.
Okay. Very good.
How about a Korean film noir that is sure to be in the discussion of the year's best movies?
Wow.
Now we have the gem of the quartet of new films coming out this weekend.
Okay.
Decision to Leave is the latest from the superb and sometimes twisted director-screenwriter Park Chan-wook, whose Old Boy, The Handmaiden, and Lady Vengeance are among my all-time favorites. Decision to Leave doesn't quite crack that top three, but damn, it is a corker. A crime thriller and a doomy romance that merits every second of its 2-hour and 18-minute running length. So here's the situation. The death of a man who fell, jumped, or was pushed off a mountain peak in South Korea brings a troubled detective, a guy named Hae-jun, to investigate. The cop suspects the man's beautiful wife, Seo Rae, of murder, and she might as well have a sign around her neck that reads "Femme Fatale." You know, it's one of those situations.
Right.
Of course, the
two fall in love?
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
okay. Not
do
in
they
love,
fall in love?
Passion.
Do they fall in love?
Okay, I see. Okay.
The detective is drawn to her, even as his relationship with his own wife is on life support. Soon, Detective Hae-jun is tailing and doing surveillance on the widow Seo-rae, obsessed with her in a way that made me think of Jimmy Stewart's character in Hitchcock's Vertigo.
Oh, sure.
So
San Francisco.
Closer, yeah, I wanted to get that San Fran thing in there. The closer he gets to his suspect, the more ominous the vibe. On the technical front, every frame of Decision to Leave is gorgeous, and the script, with its dark humor, unexpected turns, and sneaky surprises, is in keeping with Park's filmography. Finally, Park Hae-il as Hae-jun and Tang Wei as Seo-rae are fantastic, formidable. And warning, the denouement, ding word,
Totally.
of Decision to Leave, as the mystery unravels and all the plot threads come together, is shattering. When you make your decision to leave the theater, your legs may be a little wobbly.
Wow, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Just a terrific. He's an amazing director and screenwriter.
It's called Decision to Leave. And is it only in theaters?
Only in theaters for now. It'll be
Korean with subtitles.
It is Korean with subtitles. It'll be fascinating. I'm sure when it comes to home viewing, it'll be just as impactful, particularly if you can put it up on the old big LED.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Well, what was
Surely
the-
did. You know, a quick catch up. Should we do some quickies here?
Yeah, please.
All right. So last week when we were elsewhere,
Yeah. On the old radio station.
yeah,
Right.
Amsterdam came out. It's filmmaker David O. Russell's mix of period drama,
Oh, yeah,
war
with all those
movie,
stars in it. Everybody's
spy
in it.
thriller, comedy, and romance. It is so overstuffed that it loses its way. But, you know, you're so caught up with all the charisma on screen. It's basically about three people played by Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington, who meet in harrowing circumstances during World War I. The men are recovering from their war wounds, and they come together with her in post-war Amsterdam. And basically, they are parted with the men returning to America, the woman seeming to disappear until a fiendish plot brings them back together in the good old U.S. of A. during the early 1930s. Bale, who is he's just a fantastic actor. He was fearsome as Gore the Godslayer in Thor, Love and Thunder. And now he seems to be doing a take on Peter Falk as a somewhat disfigured veteran who has decided to devote his life to making prosthetics for fellow wounded vets. Great take on Falk, but that's as far as I'll go. Listen to this cast, though. I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Michael Shannon, Chris Rock, Timothy Olyphant, Andrea Riseborough, Matthias Schoenaerts, Alessandra Nivola, Rami Malek, and Robert De Niro. And you even get, here's a little callback to Halloween, Mike Myers, you know, the comedian Mike Myers and the comic actor.
Oh, sure.
And Taylor Swift in a small role. You know, Russell wants to deal with big isms here: capitalism, fascism, racism. Again, there's a whole political subtext here, while lacing in comedic elements that are generally not that funny. You know, I it's just not as engaging
it
as I
sounds
would
like
have liked.
You wanted to like it, and it sounds like there's some standout performances, but it just doesn't work.
Russell has a great directorial flair, and the charisma of the cast give this somewhat gravitas. But, when it comes to thrills and inspiration or relief over the way things play out, it's minimal. Anyway, still, I sat there and gobbled it up, right?
So Amsterdam. And you can see theaters. Amsterdam where?
Theaters.
Okay.
Okay, let's be quick
about
another,
this. Yeah, let's move it along. But I love that. I love where you're going. So far, just to review where we are, one really need to see it movie.
Right.
The others are sort of in other categories. We'll get to it in a second. I won't review.
Tar is one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's up there with Decision to Leave as far as I'm concerned. It's the dramatic portrait of a talented, immensely successful woman, Lydia Tarr, who's a pioneering, world-renowned orchestra conductor and a scholar at the height of her career. Played by Kate Blanchett. This is a tour de force, and Lydia seems to have it all. She's in charge of a major orchestra in Berlin, about to conduct the high-profile performance of Mahler's Fifth Symphony. She's acknowledged as a Mahler expert. She has an eagerly awaited book about to be published, and she and her wife, who, by the way, is lead violin in the Berlin Orchestra, are devoted to raising their elementary school-aged daughter. But Lydia has had to surmount so many obstacles to get where she is that she's arrogant to the point of rolling over anyone who doesn't agree with her perspective and philosophy, doesn't let her do what she wants. And that attitude, coupled with her appetites, could bring her down in tragic fashion, especially in our age of cancel culture. Even, a gay woman in a powerful position, if she kind of screws up, she's going to have blowback. I have to say, this methodically goes from slow burn to blistering. Blanchett does award-worthy work throughout. This is Oscar bait, and it deserves the label. Tar was written and directed by Todd Field, who has actually made only two previous movies as a writer-director. In 2001, he did In the Bedroom, and in 2006, he did Little Children. They were also scorchers like Tar. Field doesn't make a lot of movies, but when he does, oh, man, and with Tar, he delivers big time once again. It's in theaters in New York and Los Angeles and opening wider to the Bay Area and other markets this weekend or in the next weekend.
Yeah. You want to squeeze one more in?
Yeah, I think so. A Triangle of Sadness, because, you need a laugh now and again. And this is one of those movies where I actually laughed out loud as I watched it. And it's from an unconventional source in many, many ways. Scandinavian director and screenwriter Ruben Östlund, who has made, he's like Park Chan-wook. This guy is one of my favorite global directors. And he made The Square and Force Majeure, which were absolutely bonkers and amazing.
I remember The Square. What was Force Majeure?
Force Majeure is about an avalanche and a family on vacation in the Alps who has to deal with this avalanche.
And they remake it with Will Ferrell here, right?
Yeah, and it was done poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
With Will Ferrell and Tina Fey.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, The Square was about an art curator, and they are really, really funny movies and really kind of dark. And he justly won the Palme d'Or, top prize at the Cannes Film Festival for his new one, Triangle of Sadness. This is darkly hilarious, a comedy of manners, mores, and class division. We meet a couple of the beautiful people, a handsome but struggling male model and his gorgeous girlfriend, who is a more successful model and social media influencer. And we join them on a luxury cruise with an obsequious crew.
Yep.
Okay, obsequious. Helmed by a lunatic captain played by Woody Harrelson. The other passengers on the mega yacht are, for the most part, the super wealthy people used to being waited on by the deferential servants. But in the middle of the trip, nature and the seamy side of humankind get ugly. And so does the situation. And I mean really ugly. I mean hilariously ugly. The result is killer social satire that brought to mind the discreet charm of the bourgeoisie, and the original swept away. I would say Triangle of Success deserves to be thought of alongside those classics. And as far as I'm concerned, it's funnier than either of them. Östlund scores again. Triangle of Sadness is in theaters.
Wow.
So, yeah, we've got some good stuff.
You finished strong. Triangle of Sadness won the Palme d'Or. Michael really likes it. All the humor and the virtuoso filmmaking of the prior two from that director.
Yeah, Ruben Östlund.
Yeah. Tar, though, is his standout offering. Kate Blanchett, written and directed by Todd Field. It's in theaters. Amsterdam, the overstuffed attempt at putting all of those charismatic figures on screen, gets you with the charisma, but then lets you down is what my sense of it is with the actual offering. So Amsterdam, probably missable is what I was getting from you. But Decision to Leave, the Korean film from Park Chan-wook. He loves it, thinks it may be in the Oscar hunt in a big way.
Certainly for a foreign film Oscar, if it doesn't get nominated, I will drink an Oktoberfest beer. Oh, wait, I'm going to do that anyway. Never mind.
Rosalind, not as keen on.
No, it's sweet.
Not bad, but
it's a diversion. We talk about diversions occasionally.
And I'm sorry, just quickly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to neglect it. Amsterdam's in theaters.
Yes.
The Todd Field film Tar, the Cate Blanchett movie, that's in theaters.
Yes.
Decision to Leave is also in theaters.
Yes.
Rosalind is on Hulu, I thought you said.
It is indeed.
Okay, I was on
Hulu. So
Hulu.
it's the most accessible for you lazy folk.
Stars at Noon. Missable is what I got from you on that.
It's made by a very talented filmmaker, and I was caught up by the performances. And I like the setting. Nicaragua, they're being chased by the authorities. It has its moments. But again, little.
It was great. I loved it.
Okay, well, so you're coming to disagreement.
It's a skosh above Amsterdam in terms of convoluted movies.
All right. And then Halloween Ends. Sadly, didn't really hit the ball as a sequel.
No, it did not. By the way, speaking of Halloween and horror movies, my column in the current Marina Times is all about various horror movies that you can check out, some of which are considerably better than Halloween Ends, and including in that list, Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus, which is part of the Marvel universe, but a standalone paying homage to 30s and 40s Universal horror movies with Gael Garcia Bernal as the beleaguered werewolf by night.
Wow. So you like Werewolf by Night?
I really got a kick out of it.
Plus.
It's an hour-long special on Disney Plus just to keep the old streaming
why
services
not?
in the mix.
I will say, Michael, on the text line, because people can still text on YouTube.
Why don't you just text it?
You did mention, and this is, I understand why people reacted this way, when you said, just to kind of shout out to San Fran, like, because Judy says he said San Fran. You know how?
Yeah, I was being glib. I'm a San Francisco resident. Thank you.
Michael Snyder lives in San Francisco, lives in the city. You can find him. I always tell you on Polk Street there on the Royal Ground where he does his columns, and he's a Giants fan, Niners fan. I mean, he is San Francisco. DJ at the
DNA Lounge
for years, south of Market. So
back in the day, people.
Back in the day. So he has major cred as a San Francisco resident.
You don't hear me saying Frisco.
No, you
don't. You don't hear me saying the city, which is incredibly pretentious.
No, wait a minute. I say the city.
How dare you?
Oh my God! How dare you? I see your how dare you, and I give you my own how dare you.
I'm kind of a big
San Francisco.
Oh my God!
Sayonara, sucker.
All right, listen, Michael, we love Kim. Any questions for Michael before we let him?
Hi, Kim.
Hi, best kid movie for the weekend.
Best kid movie for
clearly Rosalind.
Is that right, Rosalind?
It's on Hulu. It's charming. Caitlin Dever is a talent, and there's a reason she was Emmy nominated for Dope Sick and can play light comedy like Rosalind.
Is that Justin Bieber's wife?
I hope not.
You're down to 5% battery.
I know we are. We're out of time. We could visit with you forever, Michael Snyder. You bring all the magic of the city to our magical new premiere week. He comes and goes. Go Niners! Bye-bye, Michael. You can read him in the Marina Times, of course. He's a magnificent reviewer of so many great things. Love having him in on Fridays here on the Mark Thompson Show.